Hello and welcome to your second HTML programming tutorial. In this tutorial, you will be learning about how to make a layout for an HTML document so that your website comes out good and you can use a lot of extra features. As you saw in the last tutorial, you can do it without a layout. And I'm going to show you something cool right now just to make your life easier. If you save the program, so File, Save, then you open up your internet browser, you don't need to re-drag the file in. You can just refresh it because it automatically knows which directory to look at. So, let's get started with the basic layout. There are these triangle brackets, and they are used to basically specify, do something to the area in between this, which in this case would be this area. After this and before this. So if you put like something like that, it would do, depending on what's inside these triangle braces, it would do something to this. So the most basic one is HTML. So what HTML does is basically says this is the HTML document. To end one of these, it's slightly different. You can't just type HTML again, because that basically won't work. You need to add a dash at the end to specify that they're connected. Like, this is an ending one and this is a start one. That's the same with all bracket things. It needs a dash at the beginning of the second one to close. So, inside this, we're going to need a body and a head. The head has to do with all the mechanics of the programming, like what shows up. Like right now, when we open this up, it's tutorials.html. We could make something cool show up there instead of just tutorials.html, which is the name of the file. So that's what the header does. You put the header first and then the body. So you go like that. You're going to need 4 brackets because the head takes 2, like head and dash head. And the same with the body. Body and dash body. So that makes the basic layout for a program. So if we save this by pressing Control S and refresh, right now there's nothing because it's just an empty shell. There's no actual programming in this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the title, which is this thing right up here. I'm going to type in here, you're going to type these triangular brackets, and the code word for this one is title. And it has to be in the head. You have to make sure it's in the head. Title. So, what you type in here is you type in what you want the title to be. So I'm going to type Henry HTML. And if we save this and refresh this, as you can see, it now says Henry-HTML. So that's how you add a title. Now in the body, there is the basic text, like Henry. If you want to do that, save it. You don't need to type in this, just to show you. You can type in text again and it works. But the proper way to type in text, there's a couple ways. The basic one for like normal size text, like a paragraph of text, is P, which stands for a paragraph. So now I can type in Henry, and it'll do the same thing. But later on, you can do a lot more stuff to this. So that is a basic one. I'm going to teach you some other ones, some other things. So there's B, which this one isn't really used much more anymore, but what it does is it makes the text bold. And then there's this one, which is I, which, as you may be able to tell from the last one, makes the text italicized. So if we save that and we go here and we refresh it, I have a Henry and then a Henry that's bolded and a Henry that's italicized. So now I'm going to teach you some more of these. So BR is another one. But the thing with BR is you don't need 2 BRs because it doesn't need any text in between to tell it what to do. So you only need 1 BR. This would work, but most people, to show that it doesn't need another connecting bracket, will add a dash at the end. And that will, what a BR does is if you type in Henry after that and save it and refresh it, it is basically like an enter. Paragraphs automatically enter after they're done. So, that is that. There's also HR, which is another one of the special ones that doesn't need a connecting bracket, and if you save that, you will see what it does. What HR does is it adds a line, just a line. So those are some basic ones. I'm going to teach you one more. This one is div. Whoop. Where did that go? Okay. And div. Div, basically, it won't let you see anything right now, but it allows you to separate a block of text. Like, this Henry is it's in a separate category from all the main stuff. It's like having a subclass in Java. So, yeah, or C++ if you've learned those languages. So those are some basic ones. Another one I think is A, which comes in handy. This one does need another connecting one, and it has a keyword. So inside the bracket after A, if you type href equals right here, you can have it linked to a website. So http -- and I will put this www.henrytech5.com -- you can't just type, like, sometimes people will leave these brackets out because they know Google put them in for you. You can't do that in this because it needs to know the entire website. So if you save that and you refresh it, now you have this Henry that, oh, here, I forgot to put anything in between here. So I'm going to type in website. So now this will link to my website. If I save this and refresh this, now it has a link to my website. And as you can see, it brings me to my website with all this stuff. It's a pretty cool website. You can check it out. It's henrytech5.com. So, yeah, that is the basics for some of the basic calls in HTML that allow you to change whatever's in between the bracket or just do something. That's basically most of HTML is that. There's some CSS, which I'm going to start to teach you in the next tutorial. So that's it for this tutorial. I will see you in the next tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel.